Aspire to a clean career, leaving no shame for descendants. Hello everyone. Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Case Stories, Cases Judged by Bao Gong. Today, I'm going to bring you a story called Counting Rafters Like a Corpse. In this world, every place has its own way of explaining things. In the Yuezhong region, it's called discussing official matters, while in the Wuzhong region, it's known as talking about personal connections. When someone from out of town arrives at a guest house, whether it's in a county or a village, and sits down to explain a case to the local officials, the way the conversation goes depends on the official's mood. If the official is feeling good, willing to listen, smiling, and open to talk, that's the best case scenario. But if the person's words so much as slightly upset him, the official will look up at the ceiling, with an expression of impatience, as if he'd rather count the rafters than look at you or listen to another word. This kind of behavior is what the people call counting rafters like a corpse. It's like when someone dies and their body lies on the bed while the funeral preparations aren't ready. Until the coffin is brought in, the body stays exposed, staring at the ceiling. It's only when the coffin's ready that the matter is concluded. This situation is called counting rafters like a corpse. The speaker talks non-stop, their mouth full of words, but the listener remains as stiff as a corpse, showing no response, just like the family crying in grief, while the dead lay cold on the board. So, I'd advise all you officials, don't let the people feel like you're a corpse waiting to be buried, performing heartless actions. You're very much alive, but why rush to learn how to be like a corpse counting rafters? Now, let me get back to the story. There was a magistrate in the Dongjing, named Ren Shi. He was the kind of person who only listened but never took anything in. When someone came to report a case, he never dealt with it seriously. Most of the time, he was thinking about letters from his superiors or the greetings from his colleagues. His daily focus was on how to build connections and gain favors. He completely ignored the lives of the common people and even made their suffering worse. For Ren Shi, being a magistrate meant playing the game of personal connections. He took money, earned face, and if there were no connections, it was as if you were doomed. So many people cried out in injustice in the cases he handled, so many lost their lives wrongfully. Ren Shi was the perfect example of a corpse counting rafters. One day, Magistrate Ren received a letter from the inspector, Chi Tai. Without much thought, Ren immediately condemned the person mentioned in the letter to death, and he even drove the person's family out of their home, causing them to be displaced. The person in question was named Wu Mei, who tried to appeal his case, but found no way out. Ultimately, he couldn't escape his tragic fate. His ghost arrived in the underworld, thinking to himself, I was unjustly killed, and it must be because I didn't bribe Ren Shi. Since I can't seek justice in the human world, I won't let this injustice go unaddressed in the afterlife. I've heard that Bao Gong is known for his integrity. He's able to adjudicate cases in the daylight and in the underworld at night. Since it is the middle of the night, I should write a petition and present my grievance to him. So, he wrote a petition that read, regarding the unjust killing due to favoritism, I submit my complaint. I lived with much grievance, and even in death, I hope for justice. I was falsely accused by Inspector Chi Tai, and that corrupt official, Ren Shi, immediately sentenced me to death without any fair trial. My family was also cast out, forced to wander and live in misery. While I was alive, I endured harsh torture and was wrongly accused of crimes I didn't commit. My parents, wife, and children were dragged into this. Once good people, they became homeless refugees. The cries of my children tore my heart, and my wife and I were torn apart in sorrow. Rensher acted solely on a letter, a few words, as though it were an imperial decree. Without listening to my defense, he subjected me to every kind of torture, treating the lives of common people like dirt. Is it really the case that we, the poor, can only survive by bribing and pulling strings? Is it that if we don't bribe or make connections, our lives don't matter? I beg Bao Gong to look into this and restore justice for me. When Bao Gong read this, he was furious. He said, "How detestable, how detestable. The thing I hate most is this business of pulling strings and using connections. Those who take the imperial exam ruin their future by relying on connections. Officials do the same, and this results in cases being turned upside down, with errors and injustice everywhere." He immediately ordered the ghostly officers to bring Rensher's soul to the underworld court. Before long, Magistrate Rensher's ghost appeared, kneeling before Bao Gong. Bao Gong shouted, "You, who only care about personal connections and don't look at the evidence, do you have any idea how many people you've wronged?" Magistrate Ren replied respectfully, "I have nothing to do with this matter, please allow me to explain. I had no choice. Since passing the imperial exam and becoming a magistrate, I've been just a small official, without power or influence. It's difficult to educate the villagers, and the local people have a rough character. The more powerful people around me, I can't ignore them. Even if I don't listen, I can't afford to offend them. Though the common people may have grievances, unless they speak up, I wouldn't know. But even if they do speak up, they often have no evidence. People often say favoritism is illegal, but if I don't follow orders, how can I keep my position in the government? If I don't stand up for the people, I may be demoted. If I disobey my superiors, they can dismiss me on the spot. If I had known things would turn out like this, would have never taken this office. Please understand my difficult position." Magistrate Ren then presented his own petition, saying, "If I show favoritism and respect my superiors' wishes, I might wrong the common people. But if I don't protect their rights and enforce the law strictly, I could lose my future prospects. Furthermore, the favor I'm expected to show comes from my direct superior, Chi Tai, and I have no choice but to listen to him." Bao Gong, upon hearing this, immediately ordered a ghostly officer to bring Chi Tai's soul to the underworld court. Not long after, Chi Tai's ghost arrived. Bao Gong asked, "Chi Tai, as an inspector, how could you resort to pulling strings and showing favoritism with a subordinate like Magistrate Ren?" Chi Tai replied, "As the saying goes, a fly doesn't bite a seamless egg. If Magistrate Ren were enforcing the law fairly and without favoritism, how would I dare to approach him with any personal favors? Take you, for example, sir. You've always been strict and fair in your judgment. Who would dare try to pull strings with you or ask for favors? Even if the emperor's decree came into your hands, if it were unlawful, you would refuse to follow it. And I'm just a lowly inspector. In my view, I didn't make any mistake. The mistake is that Magistrate Ren took an ordinary letter and treated it like an imperial order. I, too, have been wronged. With that, Chi Tai wrote his own petition, stating, "It's not easy to be an official. The law must always be followed in governing the people. As long as no bribery is involved, the people will live in peace. If you have no bad habits, others will naturally keep their distance." Now, Magistrate Ren has caused the death of not just Wu Mei, but many others. He loves to pull strings and show favoritism. How could he possibly listen to just my opinion? The decision to say or not say was mine, but whether or not he followed my words was not. If someone refuses to pull strings or show favoritism, then who would dare make private arrangements with him? Now, someone has accused me, and Magistrate Ren is trying to shift the blame onto me, hoping to avoid responsibility. As the saying goes, a grievance has its cause, and a debt has its owner. Responsibility cannot be shifted. If I took bribes while alive, I would have to suffer the consequences after death. But to forcefully drag someone else into this, what kind of reasoning is that? I hereby submit my grievance. After listening to Chi Tai, Bao Gong's face remained stern as he said, "Chi Tai, what you're saying does seem reasonable. You say that if Magistrate Ren didn't have the bad habit of pulling strings and showing favoritism, you wouldn't have written him the letter. This is what you call appealing to someone's weakness, where you were misled by your own biases. But if you didn't write that letter, do you think Magistrate Ren would have forced you to do so?" Magistrate Ren, hearing this, immediately knelt down and began knocking his head repeatedly, saying, "You're absolutely right, Bao Gong." Bao Gong, now furious, replied, "Writing that letter was a mistake, but does that mean the person who receives it is automatically innocent? Chi Tai, you knew that Magistrate Ren had a habit of pulling strings, and you catered to him. You were too easily persuaded. Well, you can forget your ears. Let's punish you by making you deaf. As for Magistrate Ren, you received that letter and didn't refuse it, so I'll take your mouth away. Let's punish you by making you a mute." Then Bao Gong issued his ruling, saying, as for Magistrate Ren, sure, his duty as an official was to investigate cases, but he failed to do so properly. Instead, he blindly followed his superiors, which is nothing but using his position for personal gain. Chi Tai, as an official, used his power to pressure subordinates for his own benefit, which is a clear violation of integrity. Blindly following your superiors means refusing to speak the truth, rendering yourself mute. When you have something to say, you will be unable to speak. As for those who hear of their subordinates' bad habits but fail to correct them, it's as if they never heard it at all. Let them become like the deaf, and they will never hear again. Both of these men will receive this punishment as a lesson, and I believe it will bring some comfort to Wu Mei, who died unjustly. Now, what about the officials in the world who pull strings and show favoritism, treating the common people as if they were counting rafters like a corpse? What should be done to them? Let us punish the petty officials who blindly follow orders without understanding right from wrong by making them suffer a stroke in their old age, their hands shriveled so they cannot write, and their mouths twisted so they cannot speak. As for the high-ranking officials who use their power to oppress others, let them suffer from severe headaches in their old age, their heads aching so much that they lose their hearing. One cannot speak, and the other cannot hear. This is the proper punishment for those who use their power for personal gain. Only when justice is clear will the common people find peace. After writing the sentence, Bao Gong waved his hand and said, Wu Mei, in your past life, you were killed because of others' habit of pulling strings and showing favoritism. I'm sure you hated that behavior. I decree that in your next life, you shall be an official, and I hope you will be upright and just. With that, everyone dispersed. All right. Today's case story, Counting Rafters Like a Corpse, concludes here. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Feel free to leave your comments and share with others. See you again in the next issue.